Well, good afternoon and a very warm welcome back to the channel. It's May 2021 and I recently had the TFT software updated on my BMW R1250GS Adventure with a hope that it would improve the connectivity for telephone, media and navigation. This is a video where I'm going to compare the Apple iPhone connectivity with the Samsung S9 Android connectivity. So if that's of interest to you, stick around and watch the video. So my objective with this video is not to cover all of the aspects of connecting a helmet and a phone with the TFT and the Nav6. If you want to know about that, then I've got a very popular video on the channel which I'll reference as a card up here, so you can click on that and take a look. And also have a look through the comments on that, because there's been an awful lot of comments subsequent to me producing that video, which may be of interest to you as well. What I'm trying to cover with this one is I'm trying to cover the fact that I took my bike to the dealer that I used, North Oxford Garages in Oxford, and they've been superb with me. They're quite happy to upgrade the firmware at any point that there are firmware updates on mine for free, and I know some of you struggle to get your dealers to do that for free, and I sort of understand it in a way. The bike can be there between 4 to 6 hours. The customer's putting them under pressure to do it quicker, and of course it won't go any quicker. And also, if they're a small outlet, then your bike is taking up what could be a paying bay within the workshop. But I'm lucky at North Oxford Garages. They do it for me quite happily as long as I don't pressure them. I go and ride a few bikes while I'm there, which is also great. And I don't blame them for any of the issues that we're experiencing on this, because at the end of the day, they can only put onto the machine the software which they're allowed to install by BMW. Now, what I hope to show you on this video specifically is the connection between the phone and the phone on the TFT, the phone function on the TFT, between the phone and the media function on the TFT, and absolutely most importantly, between the connected app on the phone and the TFT for turn-by-turn navigation on the TFT. It's very important to realise that you do not need the connected app installed at all for it to play media via the TFT from your phone, and also to receive phone calls from your phone through the TFT and obviously via your helmet. So the other thing that I'm now starting to realise is that I have an iPhone, an Apple iPhone 11 Pro, and that has on it the latest version of the iOS software for 14.5.1, I believe. I'll put a picture of it by the side of me here in case I've remembered that incorrectly. But most importantly, when we try to use navigation and the Apple iPhone, the connection drops incessantly. So what I've done is I've also borrowed a Samsung S9 with Android operating system to actually demonstrate and to prove to you that if you've got an Android phone, the system works pretty well and pretty flawlessly, whereas if you've got an Apple iPhone with a software version after 13.2, then you are probably experiencing real problems, certainly using the navigation. Yet to be proven whether they fix the problems using the phone and media, because of course that doesn't use the connected app, but it does of course still use the Bluetooth connection, which is the thing that appears to be dropping between the Apple iPhone and the TFT. Now, to be sure that we're all comparing apples with apples, my TFT software update was done on April the 12th, 2021, and that was updated to a version 022.007.020. My Apple iPhone, as I've already said, is operating on a version of iOS 14.5.1, and my Spotify, which is the app I've used on both of the mobile phones, is fully updated and fully patched. I don't know the versions, but we will stick up here the Apple version and the Android versions so that you can see whether that compares with what you're actually using. And most importantly is the connected app version, and as of today the current version actually on the iPhone is a slightly different version to that on the Android, but it's 3.0.2 on the iPhone and 3.0.1 on the Android. So that gives you the versions that we're actually using. And what we're going to do now is go out to the bike, and you'll be able to see that in phone and media, with an iPhone versus an Android, we get slightly different features available on the TFT. And most importantly, that if we use navigation and the BMW Connected App on the iPhone, it doesn't really work. If we use it on the Android, it works almost flawlessly. So here we are out by the motorcycle. So I'm going to boot the TFT. Now, one of the things I think noticed since I had the TFT upgraded very recently is the amount of time it actually takes to connect. But I'll just show you a few things when we come through here. As it's booting, note that we've got it at the moment on my own domestic unit of miles per hour, but I'm going to change that to kilometers an hour a little bit later, and we're expecting to see the Bluetooth connection pop up here by the clock. I've got both of my phones out here, so I don't know which one it'll connect to start with, and I've also got my helmet here, so the first thing I'd expect to see will be the phone symbol followed by a flashing Bluetooth symbol to show that the module is trying to pair with a helmet and a phone, and then we'll go in connections and see which one we've actually connected to. So there we are, we've connected to a phone. It's got a low signal, only 1 bar, and in fact it's got some of the battery down as well, and you can see now that we have also connected to the helmet. So we've got a helmet connection and a phone connection, and here you can see my ugly white square. Now that ugly white square is your speed limit taken from the maps on your Connected app on the phone. So when the Connected app disconnects, that's the first thing you notice, is that this speed limit indicator goes. I don't expect it to show any speed limits at the moment because we're obviously not on a road, we're in my shed, but you've got the 3 dash placeholders there for it. Now, to demonstrate straight away what happens when you change the TFT from miles per hour to kilometers an hour, we'll go down, move across into settings, go down 1 in settings to system settings and units, and in units we can change it from miles per hour to kilometers per hour, and then if we back out of that, we will see, hopefully, that we've now got a lovely red round speed limit sign, still with the 3 placeholders, but I suppose that's Brexit for you. And you can see here that we have kilometers an hour. We'll go back down again into settings and scroll down to the connections settings to see what phone we've got connected. So we've got the Galaxy S9 connected and the rider's helmet, Nick's helmet, so it should all work, but we are now connected to Android, and it's very important you remember we're connected to Android because we're now going to see some of the differences that we get. If we go into media, while we're actually on an Android phone, you will see that all we actually get, and I'm just scrolling down to media now, you can see all we get here is 2 options, a playback option and an audio settings option. Now if I hit playback, then we should find that my Spotify app starts to play music. Now obviously you can't hear it because it's going away in my helmet and I've turned the volume down, and you can see various things have moved up onto the top line here, so my speed limit is up, my speed limit from the maps is up at the top there, so we are still connected to the Connected app, and you can see by the counter here that we are actually playing. Once we're playing, if we go up 1 option, you'll see that we get this detailed screen here showing that 43 seconds have gone, 10 seconds to go, and we have the ability with the wonder wheel, the whizzy wheel on the handlebars, to either go forward a track or backwards a track, and those could be random associated tracks, but that's all you get with the Android phone. Note, we have no album art on this screen whatsoever. So if I now go out of here, back up to media and across to settings, and if I now go down to connections and connect up, rather than the Galaxy S9, the iPhone 11, Nick's iPhone, it should happily disconnect from the Samsung and connect to the iPhone. And you'll notice now I've lost my little miles per hour thing, so we should get that back shortly. So if I now go back up the menus, you can see at the moment it's not connected to the connected app. Now it is, because I've got my connected part back here, but it's important to remember you only need the connected app for the navigation functionality. The media functionality and the phone functionality does not need the connected app. So if I now go down and move across to my media in exactly the same way, and I scroll down, you can now see I've got a very rich menu with the iPhone. Playback, now playing, all artists, all albums, all tracks, playlists, and once again the same audio settings, but on the Android all I got was audio settings and playback. So if I now hit that, we should start to play. So it's counting up now. And if I now, because I'm playing, if I now go up one screen, you will see that I'm actually now getting album art as well. So exactly the same screen, but I am getting album art. Now, what I'd like to demonstrate from here, the telephone menus, I believe, are the same. So active call, phone book, call list, and mute. So we'll again just very quickly go down to the settings menu and change us back to the Galaxy, like so. So we are now connected to the S9, and if I go backwards from there and back into telephone, then we've got exactly the same menu: active call, phone book, and call list with mute. So that's an identical menu, there's no difference there. What I'd now like to demonstrate, but it's going to need me to go out on the motorcycle, is I'd now like to demonstrate the fact that while I'm riding with the iPhone connected, the connected app will drop its signal. Now, I'm saying that very confidently before I've even filmed it, because truly it's very rare that I can get more than a couple of miles up the road before the speed limit symbol, which will be white and square because I'm going to switch back to miles an hour in a minute, disappears. And if I then go into the navigation menu here, this will be greyed out, meaning that whilst I still have a Bluetooth connection for media and phone to my phone and to my helmet, I don't any longer have a connection from the connected app to the navigation on the TFT, and that will mean that this will disappear. Now, it is important, and I will stress this to try and help, don't have your phone, if it's an iPhone, don't have it in the top box at the back, don't have it in a pannier, have it as close to the Bluetooth module, which is in the TFT, as you can possibly get it, tank bag or whatever else. Try and put it in an upper breast pocket rather than maybe a trouser pocket, so that you do get it as close as you possibly can. And it is important in the iPhone as well that you go into your location services and you set the app, set in the connected app, and we'll show you that in a little video here in the top of the screen, that you go into the connected app settings in general settings on the iPhone, and you set it to always on, and to show your location and to show your precise location. And also you should make sure that you don't have battery saver mode on. All of those things will help to keep the phone alive. The other thing as well that I do, but it doesn't always seem to help, is when I put the phone into my tank bag, I don't actually switch it off. I put it in the tank bag and leave it live and working. That sometimes helps, but truly they have a problem, and at this particular juncture, with all of the versions of software and firmware that you've seen me mention, this system is not compatible with the Apple iOS operating system. It is faulty. Anyway, let's get out on the bike, let's try it, let's try and demonstrate to you how the Android holds on to the signal, but the Apple iPhone drops the signal. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, so here we are out with the bike, and it is started, and if we have a look, we are connected to Nick's iPhone, which is this phone here in my hand, and Nick's helmet, so just to evidence those two. And if we look on the screen, you will see that the BMW Connected App is actually started, but to prove that, we'll just run that on the phone, and you can see here my bike and connected.
and therefore I should now be ready and set to go, because it'll turn up mileage in a moment and we'll see how we roll. Now, I have no facility to put the phone on the handlebars. I could put it into my top breast pocket, but I'm actually going to do as BMW's developer said, and I'm going to put it without switching it off into my tank bag near the front, and I'm going to do up my tank bag. I'm then going to put on my gloves. I'm sorry to bore you in this way. And then we will set off on a ride. Now, depending on how long this actually takes to disconnect, as I'm pretty sure it will, then, you know, I won't show you all the way through and take up what could be 10, 20 minutes of your time, but I'm basically going to ride until this is off. But what I would like you to see is, obviously I've got the 3 dashes at the moment, and you should see that when I pull out onto a known road, the Connected App will pick up that fact. There we go, immediately, look, and it drops into 30 miles an hour, which is the speed limit on this particular road that I'm on. So anyway, we'll leave it at that at the moment. I will ride out and leave the camera rolling, and we will get some idea of exactly how long this stays connected for. So it's 7:22 now, and we'll just see how many miles we actually get. Speak to you in a bit. Just while I sit here as well at the lights, I've obviously just gone less than half a mile up the road. Just to spin down here, you can actually see that telephone is alight, media is alight, and navigation is alight. So we will see in a moment when that Connected App connection drops, you will see that I'll still have media, I'll still have phone, but I won't any longer have navigation. So, as I say, we'll pick that up in a minute when we finally do actually go out of range. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, for about the last mile, so just over 2 miles, I have lost connection to my BMW Connected App. Now, my BMW Connected App, as we saw earlier, is in here. I left the phone on, I didn't switch it off. I've got all the settings that they recommend, so no power saver on, my location always being used by the app, my precise location being used by the app always on, not only when using the app, and I didn't switch my phone off. But here I am, I've lost connection, it has gone, and to evidence that, I'll go down into the menus now, and you will see that I still have media, so I am still able to listen to, well, as it happens, now that's what I call Christmas, which is totally out of context. I can still go into my telephone, and you can see there my phone book is still active, so I still have a connection to the Bluetooth on my phone, but you can see quite clearly that my navigation is dead. So, unfortunately, because it really is, I think, sad, but quite a major function of the TFT on the BMW, GSs, the Rs, the RSs, the XTs, all of those models basically do not function. Now, the RT operates slightly differently in as much as it's Bluetooth for one connection and Wi-Fi for the other connection. So I suspect they still have probably similar problems, but because they're using Wi-Fi for the map connections, then, probably it's okay. But, that sort of is exactly what I find at all times. Now, if I can safely pull over, I will reconnect it. I think I could probably, just on this slip road, keep over to the far side, which is patently not ideal, but it is evening and there's not huge amounts of traffic around, so let me just pull over safely here. And once again, I'm going to open my bag. I'm going to take the phone out, and you are going to see, hopefully there, that my phone is still operating and the maps are still operating. It is even on, but it isn't connected. So I'll need to take a glove off. I need to close that. It's now disconnected from the app. So what I will now have to do is to physically close the app, reopen it again, wait for it to connect. It's still disconnected currently. There we can see, oh, it popped up with 110 despite the fact I'm in miles. It's now gone to 70. I'm now connected. So I'm now once again going to put my phone in here. I'm going to close the lid. I'm going to zip it up. You notice the phone remained on. I'm now on 5.3 miles from home, and I'm going to start my trip. So we will pull off once again. It'll take a couple of miles maybe to disappear, but I will actually keep rolling this time so that you can actually see the thing go off. And this is absolute evidence because I've ridden for 20 and 30 miles, and I'll show you that on my app now. The ride's recorded in my borrowed Samsung S9 Android phone, and frankly it works spotlessly, doesn't drop at all, and records the whole ride. On my iPhone, and I guess the only argument that anybody could have with me now is, would you try another iPhone in case my iPhone is faulty? And indeed, it's gone already. Oh, and it's back. So I suppose we could argue that my iPhone is faulty, and maybe at some point I should borrow somebody's iPhone and do a secondary test on it. But, you know, they admit that they have a small problem with iPhones. My contention is this isn't a small fault. This is a serious fault that unfortunately makes the navigation in the TFT and the Connected App on BMW motorcycles incompatible with iOS. Please do something about it, BMW. I'm very, very pleased with my BMW. I'm very pleased with the brand. But these faults are niggly and, in my eyes, quite serious, because I don't know what navigation connectivity costs. This unit cost me £600. So built into the TFT, and it's just gone again, built into the TFT, it's probably worth, I don't know, £300, £250. Nobody I see is giving me a refund for that. And there we can see we have lost navigation. Still have media, still have telephone, so consequently we know that the Bluetooth connection between the telephone and the TFT is maintained, but for some reason the BMW Connected App is actually losing its connection to Bluetooth, either within the phone or somewhere between the phone and the TFT. So there we are, arrived at home. 11.5 miles on the trip meter. It's slightly longer than that because I actually didn't have my auto trip on auto trip, so I had to set it about 1.5 miles into the journey. So I've done maybe 13.5 miles. On the way up, it cut out. I reset it. On the way back, it flipped and flashed, and then finally it's cut out permanently. And if I actually bring the phone out, you will see that the map is still live. If I now close the map, you will see that I am disconnected, but the map was still quite happily running away to itself. It does say disconnected. It still says recording in progress. That's actually not true. And if I look at the rides, here is the date today, and you can see actually all it recorded of that ride was 3 miles. And if we actually look at it, you'll see it recorded going up the avenue from home. It dotted around a little bit, and just when I was about to get on the motorway, it cut out. It then follows a direct dotted line until it connects again. That was where I connected it on the return journey. I then had a few on and offs, then a little bit of an on, and effectively that's where it said that I finished my journey in the middle of the M3. So as you can see, it genuinely doesn't work.
So there we have it. That's the subtle differences between the Apple iPhone iOS software and the Samsung S9 Android software with regard to the media selections. A much richer experience with the Apple iPhone, giving you extra choices of playlists and albums and artists and everything else, and also giving you the album art with the iPhone, not with the Android phone. but relatively trivial in comparison to the fact that the roles are totally reversed when it comes to a serious functionality of the navigation system on the BMW TFT screen. So the Android works, the iOS operating system after 13.2, 18 months now, does not work. Or at least does not work reliably. So with the Android phone, it stays connected. You can record your rides, you can output your rides, you can share your rides, you can do everything that the app is intended to do, which you cannot do with an Apple iPhone, no matter where you site it and no matter what settings you set. I feel a little for the BMW developers, although they are a very big operation in themselves, dealing with a huge monolith of Apple, but you would think they'd be able to get their heads together in that sort of time to arrive at a solution whereby this can work. I have had comments from people saying, I don't know why they don't just use Apple Play or CarPlay or any of these types of things, but I think it's admirable that they are trying to produce software that is suitable for a motorcycle, so winding route, operation with gloves on, those types of things are all things which aren't necessarily compatible with things like CarPlay, where you've got somebody sat by the side often to be able to plumb things in, or you've got the ability to use touch screens and the like. So I do feel slightly, but I do think now the time has come for BMW to admit that one of the major features of their electronics and information on the motorcycle is not compatible with Apple's iOS operating system, because it's dragged on for quite a considerable period of time. You can make your feelings known to the developers by going into the app and going into the help and sending them messages. They do respond eventually, and I would encourage you to do that, because I just don't think at this stage it's acceptable. There is a very big signal here that the development cycle of software, being days, weeks, months, maximum a year, is very much not compatible with production cycles of vehicles being 3 to 5 years in their changes. But I do think fundamental things like this actually should work. That's it anyway. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've had, please give it a thumbs up, because that really helps the channel. And if you've liked this video and other ones that I've posted, including the companion to this, which is connecting of helmet, phone and TFT and the Nav6, then it'd be great to have you along as a subscriber. We don't have enough subscribers, so please subscribe, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you can be notified every time we release a new video. I really love the comments or questions. If you've got any, please leave those down below. I do try to answer 100% of those. So if you've got any questions, it'd be fantastic to be able to get your comments on that as well. In the meantime, ride safe, stay safe. We'll see you next time, and thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.